Hey, Keisha. Hi, Jim. I'm so happy to have you on Kitchen Summits today. And we discussed that yesterday. I was so looking forward to have a moment and to discuss with you. Let's just start by the beginning. How would you introduce yourself?
Oh,
I know, it's a tricky one.
so I typically start, and it's a little dramatic.
Go ahead, please.
I am my father's daughter. I'm a lover of music.
Oh,
I am my mother's greatest accomplishment.
oh.
Next to my sister and my brother, I'm rooted in love, and I am oftentimes hard on myself, but at the same time, I give myself grace. So the only way that I can describe myself is I'm Keisha.
You're
Just me. That's it.
I love it. I love that you started saying your father's daughter. In a way, that's how most African cultures we introduce ourselves. I am Janine, daughter of so and so and so, and it's true.
Yes.
We follow the father's lineage,
Yes.
which in Kinyarwanda we say Gisogo Kuru. And a friend of mine recently introduced me to also name the mother's side, and so I'm my mother's daughter, and you name your mother, and your mother's mother. And there was no word I thought in Kinyarwanda for it, and she invented Ikinyogokuru. So your mother's lineage,
Yes.
sort of like that spin on tradition. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And then I remember we discussed so many things, and I when you left, I was like, did I even ask her about her education? What shaped her early days?
Yes. So I went to college.
Not that that important, because
but it definitely plays a part.
it does.
So let me start with, I went to a really small school for 10 years. We were the first 8th grade graduating class.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So it was based in Washington, D.C. It's called Bridges Academy.
Okay.
And the principal was like the second mom.
Oh, that's
And originally, when we went to that school, I started in kindergarten. And the school only went up to 3rd grade. And each year, the parents would go to the principal and say,
so it grew with the kids.
it grew with the kids.
Wonderful.
Small school. And every year, the parents would go to Miss Campbell, that was the principal, and say, Miss Campbell,
Please
please add one more year. Add one more year. So it went from initially kindergarten to 3rd grade, then 3rd grade to 4th, then 4th to 8th. So I was the first 8th grade graduating class.
Wonderful.
My cousin and I went to that school, and that was even Alsatian, same age.
Okay.
We're 3 years apart. Yes, first cohort. And it was a school that was in DC, very small school. I think maybe it had 60 students.
Okay.
And in the 8th grade class, it was only 8 of us, 2 girls. And then
An extension of home.
an extension of home. Like Miss Campbell was our second mother.
Wonderful.
And I had, that experience was really pivotal for my love of Africa. And
Why so?
So it was a small, little bit of history. I went to a bilingual school before attending Bridges Academy.
Amazing.
And so I was learning Spanish. I was fluent in Spanish. And my mom.
Hablo poquito de español.
Oh, I don't know any. Hola, me llamo Keisha. That's about it.
Not bad.
And my mom and my aunt took my cousin and I to a playground. And we went to the playground and we were playing. And my mom said to me, I can't remember what the question was, but I said, oh, I'm not black. I'm Spanish. And my mom said, wait, I'm sorry? And my cousin said the same thing. My cousin was like, oh, we're Spanish. We're not black. And my mom saw an identity crisis at that very moment. And then put us into this all black school.
Intentionally to fix that.
Intentionally. And that was for 10 years. And we had teachers from all over. I remember my African diaspora teacher in the 4th grade. So you'd remember that.
Wow.
African diaspora teacher, her name was Miss Camera. She was from Guinea-Bissau.
Wow.
And we learned about the African continent. We had to do a book report on Ghana. I was the queen of Ghana. Dominic was the king of Ghana. And my love for the continent grew from 4th grade,
Okay.
where we originally came from. And that school nurtured that love for me. Once we graduated from 8th grade, then it was high school. And then I went to high school in the suburbs of Maryland. It was fine. And then I went back to, when it was time for me to go to college, I knew that I wanted to go to an historically Black college or university. And of course, I went to the phenomenal Howard University.
Are you a Howard alumni?
I am. I'm a Bisonette.
Excuse me?
And I struggled in the sense of what did I want to study?
Okay.
And it was initially political science.
Oh, you knew?
I saw in the beginning.
Okay.
I took my first we call it poli-sci class, and I hated it. I was like, this may sound funny, but this love of reading, you have to have a real love of reading. And I do have a love of reading, but not where I feel like I'm overwhelmed by it. And for political science, that is strictly the letter of the law.
Okay.
And that was not as interesting to me. I care about people. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to be a lawyer. I cared about people. So Howard created a new program in the School of Communications called Legal Communications. And what that did was help you design your case. How do you actually represent the person you are representing, your client? How do you put together your brief? And I love that part. So legal communications ended up being my major. And then I also did a double major in elementary education.
How interesting, the combination.
I know.
The combination.
And with legal communications, the point was to go to law school.
Okay.
So I did an internship at this law firm, right when it was time.
Still in DC?
Still in DC. I'm born and bred, Washingtonian. And the whole point of the program was to go to law school. I got into law school, and I did this summer internship.
Yes.
And I hated it.
It was not it.
It was not it for me. It was in corporate law. I wasn't quite sure which law I wanted to do, but I interned for this lawyer, and he was like on his fourth marriage, and he's like, listen, if you're not willing to give 80 hours a week, this is not it for me.
Okay.
And I said, I'm not. And I was terrified to tell my mom and dad that I had decided I wasn't going to.
Let them be disappointed?
Oh my goodness. Everyone that was the next step for Keisha. You're going to become a lawyer.
Yep.
And Keisha said, no, I'm not going to become a lawyer. I'm going to go to this inner city school and teach.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
For how long did you?
A year.
Okay.
And it was the most heartbreaking because it was the inner city. And so kids struggled. And you made no money.
Of course.
And money was not the most important thing. It was impact. But I did not have the resources, me alone. That's where I also this love for how do you empower people to do better without resources. And I hadn't figured that out yet.
But so the question was there.
The question was there when I was young. It was, how do we get out of this situation? How do we say, everyone says, it sounds cliche, that the children are our future. And if they are, then we would invest in them. It's not according to your status or how much money you have. You give everyone equity, and then they do what they want with it. And unfortunately, we don't live in a world like that.
We don't.
So after I realized that it took more than me to make that impact, I had to figure out something else.
Such a big question to ask oneself at a young age. Whatever outcome you're dreaming of for education, it did not rest on your shoulders. You could be a brilliant teacher in a wonderful school, but the lives of these kids, so much more should be involved to get the outcome that you need.
Exactly.
Right?
And you are not the savior.
You're not.
And you have to understand that immediately. So many things are outside of your control. So I made the decision, one, financially, it was not paying what I needed to really go down a career path that I would be really proud of. And then I decided, okay, let me think about where do I want to go next. And that's when my first job came in with Department of Justice.
Oh, then you immediately switched to Department of Justice.
I did, as an administrative assistant. My dad was like, You went to school, you're an administrative assistant. What is this? And I was like, well, maybe I go back to law. I don't know. I mean, let me see. Have a little bit of faith.
Yes.
And I met a really good mentor named Trisha Bursey. I will never forget.
Mentors are life.
Oh, mentor for life. She saw something in me. I was working at Department of Justice for like maybe 6 months. I was her her executive assistant. And I remember she called me in her office one day and she said, I see you have a degree from Howard. I see you study law. Do you know what you're doing here? And I was like, well, this is the Office of Procurement. And she was like, do you know what that is? I was like, you buy stuff for the government.
Yes.
She was like, yeah. She said, I want you to think about this career path called contracting. And I was like, She said, it is a really good, unique blend of your skills and law. So I'm going to put you on this individual learning plan.
Okay.
I want you to take these 3 classes. And if you like them, let's talk. So I took my first class called FAR 100, Federal Acquisition Regulation.
Okay.
100.
Procurement stuff.
For procurement.
Okay.
Buying, I worked for the U.S. Attorney's offices around the United States.
I see.
And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So we write contracts on behalf of the government? Okay, let me see where this takes me. I took the first class, I did well, took the second and the third, and then the rest was history. I went back to her, I said, I love it. She said, okay, I'm gonna create a job for you here at the Department of Justice.
Wow.
As a contracting officer. And it was—
That was a new position, brand new.
brand new. She had the means to do it.
Wow.
I was interested, and it's a career that is always needed. Contracting officers in federal government is always needed.
Interesting.
And I loved it. It combined like the federal acquisition. Those are your regulations, and your contract has to be governed by that. So I am acting on behalf of the government, purchasing things. Cool. My dad was happy. And I felt fulfilled, but not fully. Then I transitioned.
What was then missing?
Hey, what was my impact? Okay. Buying this for U.S. attorney's offices for court cases. What's the impact? There was still something missing. Like, I can do this with my eyes closed. And I had another mentor, Sheila Bumpus.
Still at the office.
Still at the office. Trisha Bursey left. Okay. She went to, it's called FDIC. It's like our money. I don't even know what FDIC does, but she left and then Sheila Bumpus came in. Sheila Bumpus was phenomenal as well. And I stayed at Department of Justice for about 6 years. When when Sheila was leaving, she introduced me. She called me in her office and she said, I feel like you've outgrown Department of Justice. I'm leaving. I want to introduce you to someone else. And I was like, oh. She said, do you have time today? And I was like, oh, of course I do. So we went to this place called Rosa Mexicana. Do you like Mexican food?
I do.
So in DC, they have a place called Rosa Mexicana. Over margaritas and chips and salsa.
Great.
I meet my future boss. No idea that it was really like an interview. And that's why it was over a margarita.
They tricked you.
They tricked me. So we go in. Her name was Lisa Builder, and she said, this is Keisha. I'm leaving. I want her to come and work for USAID. Never heard of USAID.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
And at that time, the government had something called Direct Hiring Authority. So that was literally the interview. I didn't have to do anything else. Lisa said, do you want to do?
Over margaritas.
Yeah, over margaritas and chips. So my career with USAID started there.
Okay.
And then I went to USAID.
Okay, when was that?
That was in 2009. 2007.
Wow. It's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, almost 20 years ago. I had never heard of the United States Agency for International Development. Had no idea what it did. And I remember walking over and joining something called the Global Help Team.
Wow.
And my boss, Lisa, gave me my first PEPFAR, President Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief.
Wow.
No idea, right? I'm reading through it, and I am totally confused because I'm used to whatever is needed for the ports, pens, papers, dockets, things of those things,
Yes.
of that nature. That's what I purchase.
Yes.
What am I purchasing here? And I remember reading the first program description, and it was describing what we were purchasing for, it was in Kenya, actually, bulbs for people suffering from HIV and AIDS. And I was like,
ARVs.
Z's, condoms. We talked about key populations.
Of course.
And I was like, wow, what are we purchasing? Those are like, how is this impacting? What country is this in? So my world was then introduced to international development.
And Africa came back.
Africa came back. And my first trip on the continent to understand what we did was to Kenya.
Interesting.
And I went to a school where I did a ward where we purchased supplies for the school, books, pens, pads.
Okay.
And we were giving them to the end user, the beneficiaries, the babies. I sent you this picture.
Oh, let's look at it.
Let's look at my first trip overseas.
Sorry. Wait. Just swipe.
That picture.
Okay.
Those kids.
They look so young.
Primary school.
Boys and girls.
Boys and girls.
Okay.
In Kenya, on the outskirts of Nairobi, about maybe 2 or 3 hours from there. And
Public school.
It was a public school, yes. And we had all of our USAID branded notebooks, pens, and papers, and we were handing them out. And when we were leaving, these kids ran up to us. And at that time, I didn't know Swahili. I speak Swahili. Try to. But I remember them saying thank you. Asante sana. And that changed my whole world.
You saw impact right there in your face.
I did. I saw what we were doing. I saw how that benefited these kids, and there was no turning back. So at that moment, I said, this is where I'm going to retire. I'm going to do good work, and do impactful work, and be excited about it. And go back to, I'll get to that later, but partnerships. This is somewhere down the line. We're talking about from 2009.
Yes.
When I went. What I saw writ large across the board is we forget when we become donors, partners.
Saviors.
And we're not saviors.
Was it because you were a Black woman that you were more sensitive to that as an issue? Or were you already kind of, you had the question in the backdrop of your mind?
It was more, I felt weird.
Uncomfortable?
A little bit uncomfortable, because I also felt like the beneficiaries looked at us as saviors. And I don't want to be looked at as a savior. That's a very high place to put me. I'm just Keisha. And what I want to do is help. What do you need? And I didn't want to ever lose that. I guess my dad used to say when I was growing up, there's 2 things he wanted me to be very careful of. Don't let people mistake your kindness for weakness.
1.
Always remain humble. Never get too big for your britches. Don't confuse that with be confident, for sure, but be humble. And I don't want to be considered anyone's savior. I want to be considered someone's friend.
Yeah.
Or someone who was on that journey with them, but not their savior. I don't deserve that title. That title, I don't want given to me. And then I said, how do you balance that? A lot of times as USG employees, we come in with all this money.
Of course.
And it's more transactional, and development work has always been about partnerships.
And one of the criticism I actually heard and do share is that rarely do you see development agencies on the continent or in other developing countries having a plan to get themselves out of business.
Yeah.
If you're in to support me until I can walk on my feet, then you should have a plan for you to walk out so that I can walk. It's the same way you raise kids.
Yes.
And you don't want to hold their hands all their lives. And so that criticism, I think for you, it was sort of embedded in your mind.
I think so. There should be, Mark Green, our former administrator of USAID, said, we've done our job when we have been able to look at our work and say, job well done, and now we pull out.
We're out.
We're out. That there's no need for foreign assistance anymore. Countries are sustainable, countries are thriving, and we've been a helper, not a savior.
Of course, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
On the receiving end, they should be also a path forward and actually leading the process to it. Yeah. Look, I want to be able to walk on my feet. And I think somewhere along the way, our countries got lost.
Yeah.
Got lost. Dependent, codependent. It's really codependency. Yeah, it went both ways, and with the consequences that we unfortunately do see.
Yes.
And are having to negotiate our way out.
Yeah, but that's a part of the process. True, right? We're all on this journey together. I think learning from past mistakes, trying not to make the same ones moving forward. And so this is a time right now to really say, how do we stand on our own 2 feet? How do we go back to being partners? How do we look at this journey to self-reliance and finally say, puffed up with pride, job well done? Give ourselves some grace. It's like parenting.
It really is like parenting, but unfortunately none of them is our relatives. I mean, I don't consider any of these partners, however good they could be, like family. They might become. And that's the tricky part.
Yeah.
But even in families, this can be dysfunctional.
It can be.
For right now, it is highly dysfunctional, and I feel like both parties are struggling to figure out how to make it right.
Yes.
How to make it right.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time to be alive.
It is. And you have to know what your purpose is.
True.
And if you don't know what that purpose is, then you're going to navigate in waters that are already tricky, and then you're going to be a ball of confusion.
Yes.
So I'll give you a good example.
Go ahead.
With the closure of USAID.
Yes.
Right. Again, all things should come to an end eventually. What I said in leading my team is it is so important for us to remain still in the midst of confusion.
Come again?
Stand still
in the midst of confusion.
In the midst of confusion. So a good example would be a tornado.
Yes.
Normally, when you see a tornado is coming, you are bunkering down. You get to a safe space and you remain still.
Until it passes.
Until it passes. So as the tornado is spinning up, are you running towards that, or are you finding a safe space and remaining still? So we were in a lot of confusion during this time, and my job was to give people space to do what was best for them. Not to respond to every tasker, but to do what was best for them, which meant we're standing still in this mix of confusion. And you're going to focus now on you. No one else can. That's the only thing that I could control, is that
shelter.
Bad shelter. And that's something that I'm proud of.
That's leadership.
Thank you.
That truly is leadership.
It was hard. It was
to see past the moment, past the crisis, because eventually it does pass, right?
It does. The sun comes out. We can't get lost. So my favorite person, one of my favorite people.
The way you corrected yourself.
One of my favorite people that I quote all the time.
Go ahead.
That is like an anchor for me. The former John Lewis. He was a former civil rights activist, part of Congress.
Good trouble.
Good trouble. Sounds like an oxymoron. How do you get into good trouble? And that's the type of trouble that you, again, stand tall in. That's the kind of trouble that's needed, that's going to help you exactly. The quote is, do not get lost in the sea of despair. Do not become bitter or hostile. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Never, ever afraid to make some noise and get in to some good trouble, necessary trouble. We'll find a way to make a way out of no way. USAID,
remain hopeful,
was not a job for most of us. It was a career. Totally different.
What's the nuance there?
What's the news there?
Well, not the news, the nuance.
The nuance. Most people have a job. Like, Can you remember your first job? My first job was at a fast food restaurant. That was a job that paid the bills. I didn't care anything about it.
I had a bakery. I do remember.
Did you love it? Do you love to bake?
Of course not.
See? But you did it because it was a necessity.
It
You
was.
needed it.
I was a student. I needed that money.
But your career, what you poured your heart into, what you took that skill that you loved and you trained it, you trained yourself, you mastered it. That's your career. That's your baby. That is your bread and butter. It not only pays the bills, but it's fulfilling. USA was a career. And so for a lot of us who spent 20, 30 years dedicating our lives to that career, to see it go away without planning,
Yeah,
we could get lost in that.
totally. It's a massive disruption.
Massive disruption,
Abrupt,
unplanned,
unplanned.
and it happened so quickly. So I told my team we had something called Gratitude Mondays.
So tell me.
Gratitude Mondays was with everything going around us, so that we didn't get lost in a sea of despair. We had to name at least one thing we were grateful for.
So you would sit them in the boardroom and round
We
table?
go around,
Okay.
all 80 plus of us.
I'm sure they were just grateful to be together.
A lot of people
One.
say grateful for health. And so I had some ground rules. You can't say grateful for health.
That's the obvious.
That's the obvious, that we woke up this morning. But what are you grateful for? A lot of people say camaraderie. Coming into this building. A lot of people said, and I didn't know this lingo. I'm grateful for my PP. And I was like, what's a PP? My pay period. I got my check. I was like, yes, that's something to be grateful for. And then I remember we had one day when we were talking and someone said, I am grateful for this job. Not because it's ending, but because I saw so much here. And I was like, So despite it going down the way it was, we were still very grateful.
So the intangible rewards of the job,
Yes.
that would remain with you.
Yes.
Interesting.
The relationships that we have.
The wealth of
The
relationships.
wealth. And so you said, the government, that's not our family.
It did eventually become one.
The team did.
Okay.
That's my family.
Because it's a close partnership.
Yes. You spend 8 or 9 hours a day with these people. And you would hope that you grow fond of them. A team that's gelled well, that's cohesive,
Yes.
magic happens.
Truly.
And we are all so different. I'm an African American woman in Rwanda. You can't tell me my roots are here.
I mean, Keisha, so here people will, I'm going to disclose a bit of the way we met is my previous job. And you were just coming to a new job. And literally you came into a crisis situation.
I did.
And so you found in the team people who were doing already work on the
Yes.
field. Obviously you had a career at USAID.
Right.
And then how did you blend in?
The blessing
The
was,
situation created a sort of emergency.
it was an emergency. So we had 2 emergencies, Marburg,
Oh my God, of course.
and then the shuttering of USAID. And what I learned in Marburg, what was a beautiful development that I got to see firsthand about Rwanda, is we have it. Rwanda has the talent. The government knew what to do. That's when I really saw partnerships. That's when I saw the beauty of a good relationship. That's when I understood you don't come in and tell a country how to fix something when they already know. You come to the table and you say, now how can I help? And that partnership between the Ministry of Health, USAID, CDC, State Department, we worked
All the
together.
agencies.
All the agencies, WHO.
I remember the media briefing. I would follow every day.
It was amazing. And we didn't have all the answers, but we had the talent around the table to figure it out. And while
All hands on deck.
all hands on deck, egos out the door,
And so much skilled people also.
skilled people,
Leadership.
and humanity,
Indeed.
dignity, grace. And we were able to combat that, in one record time.
And you went straight into the trenches together.
Straight. Then I thought I had a break.
No.
And the January hit. And then our agency. But everything happens, I believe, for a reason. And I'm a teacher. I'm a student of faith. You asked me that question.
You did mention it to me. We'll come to it. Yeah. But this is quite... I've had similar situations in my life, but I'm not trying to compare here. You literally had to jump deep in the cold water in a new country. You moved in with a family, and then you were making a new family at your workplace. Mm-hmm. And literally, a virus people knew little about. Yeah. Deadly. How did you go to bed? Like, what was your feeling after a day of work?
Say day one?
Yes.
So, a little caveat is I was blessed and fortunate enough to have already been in Rwanda since 2022 as the deputy.
Okay.
So I had these established relationships with the team.
Okay.
So coming into a new role of mission director, where all eyes are on Keisha, first time mission director, not a first time leader, and leading through crisis. So that's where I call, this is what I say my sister friends come into play. And I have some ladies who are not my blood, but are my sisters that
I know the feeling.
You know that feeling.
I know the feeling.
That I knew I could turn to. That I could say, oh my gosh, how am I going to lead through crisis? What do I need to do? And it was never an answer. Like, they didn't give me the answer. They were like, you know the answer. You're a servant leader. You take care of your people, they'll take care of you. Have my outlets to my family was super important. My husband and my kids played a huge role.
But real friends really is special.
Friends that know you, that you can be unapologetic about who you are with. It was listening to their candor, being completely okay with
whatever
useful criticism, right? Like, don't lead this way. Don't go talk to the ministry. You have to know, you have to understand the context of Rwanda, one. And you have to understand how you're coming to the table, two. That is invaluable. Like,
It truly is. It truly is.
So we this is a term, but empowered women empower women. And that's who I surrounded myself with. So that's how I was able to sleep at night. My faith, for sure, my family, my sister friends. And getting up and getting ready to know that we have another day ahead of us because people are depending on us. Sure. And that you had no time to give up.
No.
You got to keep going.
No. But, and also you are fueled.
Right.
You're fueled from within, and you also wrapped in warmth. I feel like my girlfriends, honestly, I wouldn't think or even consider what life would be without them.
Oh my gosh.
They hold your spine together.
They do. And they check you when you need to be checked.
They do.
You trust them.
They do.
You do. And
we've lived long enough to know.
Yes. And that bond is unbreakable.
And I guess you've been that friend to them. Yeah. So when you get on the receiving end, well, it's ready for you.
It's ready.
It's ready for you. I have one of those friends who would just tell me, so what do you want me to do? Listen or give you a piece of my mind?
And you take it.
Of course.
You take it either way. Even if it stings a little bit, you're like, But you know that advice came from a place of love.
And so it's only recently for me that I learned to also intentionally plan for time together just to enjoy each other's company. It's recent.
Yes.
I started it with my 45th birthday, which is 5 years ago. And my sister said, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to spend time with X, just the two of us. So what we did, 48 hours in a beautiful place.
Okay.
Just the two of us. And again, at some point, it was a big bump on the road. And a friend of mine just jumped on a flight and came, and we spent 5 days in this house. Hanging out.
You and your friend?
Yes.
Your sister friend?
My sister friend. Your sister friend. It's precious.
What would we do without them?
No, it's not a question. I wouldn't be whole. No. We can do so many things without, but not without.
No.
Friends, and friendships and female friendships. Really, it's a pillar
It is.
in my life.
And we're women in leadership. We're women of color in leadership.
That's another big one.
That's another big one.
That's another big one. Should we look at another picture?
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you. Just choose.
Let's see.
I had a hard time even deciphering what this drawing was all about. I see the heart and the hand.
So it's love.
Okay.
So I just learned this new, I don't even know what it is, emoji, I guess.
Mudra. I come from a yoga context. So hands and fingers, when they make shapes, they call it a mudra in Sanskrit.
So it's like this, and if you look at it, it's in the shape of a heart.
Okay.
And that's my core.
Not this one.
Not this anymore. This is late. This is old news.
Okay.
So I just recently got hip to this.
Okay, thumb and index finger.
Yes.
Okay.
And it means love. And that is, again, it may sound cliche, but when you're rooted in goodness, when you're rooted in love, your decision making it comes from a good place.
Sure.
It comes from a good place. There's no room for resentment. There's no room for anything but something that comes out of a pure heart. And I do that with my work.
Yes.
And I've been counseled by mentors too, where they're like, now listen, you have to leave emotion out of the workplace. There's no place for emotion in the workplace. And I'm like, how do you function without emotion?
Thoughtlessly.
And it has to be. That's what fuels me. So if I'm doing anything other than something with a foundation or basis of love, I'm not doing it. Love for my team.
Yes.
Love for the work that I do. Love for the decisions that I make. Like I can't make a decision without it being grounded in that foundation. My father was like that.
Your father was like that. We'll unpack it further in part 2 because, love is also such a generic word. When I listen to you, it's more that I feel what you mean rather than I see it. And of course I did see it because I know a few of your colleagues. However, in the day-to-day, I feel we have to give we have to infuse meaning into the word.
Yes. And defining it. So I define it myself. It's a feeling. It's a feeling that's followed by an action. So if I say that I'm going to do something for you, I'm not going to do it without wanting to. And that want has to come from somewhere. And it needs to be something that's rooted in something good, right? Whether it's a desire to see you happy or a desire to get my point across.
Yes.
Love. Well, since stirring. Nice. But it's been a foundation. I grew up in a household where we said, I love you 24/7.
Oh, did you? How wonderful.
It was, I love you. And I remember meeting my husband, and he didn't grow up. He's from Nigeria. Not to say that Nigerians don't grow up in a household.
It's different. It's different.
And he said to me, how many times are you going to say that?
That's cheesy for them.
It is. I was just like, get used to it. And I remember we were talking, and he was like, you said I love you like 5 times today. I was like, just so you know how much I do. So I teach my kids. I have a 14-year-old son who is the part of me that I never showed my mom. And then I have an 11-year-old daughter who is, when I say I'm rooted in love, she's so special.
What's her name?
Zoe.
Zoe.
Which means beautiful flower.
Okay. Let's unpack the mother love and the kids love in yours too.
Got you.
Thank you.
Of course.